Welcome to Principles of Management, previewing the route you'll take with management. This is Gemmy Allen.
3.
Everybody has been managed by their parents, teachers, and bosses, but studying principles of management is a whole new ball game. Notice I say principles, not rules. A rule says do this or don't do this. A principle says this works. The difference is crucial. No one needs a cookbook on how to manage. We need to understand the guiding principles of management which sustain organizational success. In this preview, I'll introduce you to the theory and practice of management that you'll use throughout the rest of the course.
As you look at the road ahead, you'd like to know how you'll find your way, especially if you've never done this before. But people just like you have found that they can learn different management techniques, understand when those techniques are appropriate, and use them to determine the type of manager they want to be. The content and features of the course are structured to reinforce 3 continuing themes that are woven into the course. 1. The never-ending effort by managers and organizations to meet or exceed customers' expectations. 2. The need organizations and their people have to be guided by effective leadership. And 3. The growing use of technology to enhance business. In this preview to the management lessons, you'll preview the route you'll take with management. We'll make 12 stops along the way. Each stop is called a lesson and includes at least one chapter in the textbook. In Lesson 1, we'll cover Chapters 1 and 2 and define the key terms and concepts used in management. Also, we'll compare the past to the present. In Lesson 2, we'll determine the manager's environment. The third stop is planning for success. The fourth stop is looking at the quality movement in management. The fifth stop is decision making. The sixth stop is organizing and change. The seventh stop is ethics. The eighth stop is staffing and the communication process. The ninth stop is all about influencing others through motivation, leading, the 10th stop, and team management, the 11th stop. The last stop on the route is controlling. Upon completion of this course, you will be armed with the essentials necessary for improving your career. You will become a better manager of your own concerns as well as the work of others. In Lesson 1, Management Overview, you will be exposed to a variety of styles and forms of management. There are many metaphors for a manager. A good manager is like a gourmet chef, a sports team coach, or the conductor of a symphony. But at the bottom of it all, a successful manager is someone who understands employees and is flexible and adaptable. In Chapter 1, we will explore what management is about, why it is necessary, the needs managers must address, management functions, management roles, management skills, and management myths and realities. In Chapter 2, we will examine the evolution of management theory from the classical schools through today. We will look at the contributions made by each and determine the links among them. In Lesson 2 and Chapter 3, we will discuss the internal and external environments that affect and challenge the practice of management. Business as an open system and the demands of stakeholders are the major focus. In this lesson, we will examine the function most people consider the most fundamental part of management, planning. A plan is the framework for any company or department. Without it, there is no organization or purpose. Planning is part of every management activity. This lesson will introduce you to characteristics of a decision, various models that help in decision making, and the steps a good manager takes while making a decision. In Chapter 4, we will determine the importance of planning, the framework for plans, types and uses of plans, and the planning process. Chapter 5 is covered in Lesson 4. We will focus on management's commitment to continuous improvement. We will look at the link between quality, productivity, and profitability. We will examine factors that affect productivity, along with the commitments necessary by top, middle, and first-line management to improve quality and productivity. This lesson introduces key concepts such as core values, re-engineering, open book management, empowerment, and knowledge management. In Chapter 6, Lesson 5, we will visit the steps for rational decision making. We will look at decision making climates, quantitative methods, and the various influences on the manager's problem-solving efforts. Change is the only constant. Might sound like a glib cliche, but like most cliches, it contains a fundamental truth. Did your parents grow up with computers, the internet, and smartphones? Think about this. Their parents grew up without cable and satellite television, and their parents grew up without television of any kind. In Lesson 6, we'll discuss how organizing converts the organization's plans into reality and makes things happen. In Chapter 7, we will look at the formal organization, the organizing process, and the informal organization. In Chapter 8, we will look at organizational design, the range of organizational design outcomes, organizational change, and handling change. Lesson 7 covers Chapter 9. We will examine ethical issues and the need to be proactive when managing for social responsibility. The lesson explores the issues of responsibilities to stakeholders and government regulation of business activity. In this lesson, we'll discuss staffing and communicating. Managers spend at least 80% of every working day in direct communication with others. That's 48 minutes of every hour. In Chapter 10, we will survey staffing from human resource planning to employee separations. We will look at activities such as job analysis, job evaluation, training, and development. In Chapter 11, we will focus on communication, organizational and interpersonal, and demonstrate the communication process and barriers to it, along with how managers can improve their communication efforts. In Lesson 9, you'll read Chapter 12. We will introduce important ideas about influencing people in organizations, including content theories of motivation, which focus on underlying employee needs, process theories, which focus on how people select rewards to meet those needs, and the application of motivational approaches in job design. We will explore motivation and the applications of the most relevant theories. Special consideration will be given to how managers can use their insights and principles to get the most from themselves and team members. In Lesson 10, we'll discuss leadership styles and the characteristics of leaders. In addition, we'll review several important theories of leadership. You'll read Chapter 13 and detail leadership's importance and association with power and authority. We will review the roles leaders must play with their followers, along with the theories that govern the practice of leadership and the styles that leaders may adopt. In Lesson 11, you'll read Chapter 14. We will examine team management and conflict, including the nature and types of teams, philosophical approaches to team management, and how to establish team-based organizations. We will discuss the causes of conflict and methods for managing it. A quote from Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company, highlights the importance of teams. He said, "Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success." In this lesson, we'll discuss control, which isn't just making people do what you want them to do, although we've all had managers who seem to cling to that narrow definition. We will cover some basic mechanisms of organizational control, beginning with the structure and steps of the control process. We'll also discuss how the concept of control has changed. In Chapter 15, we will discuss or focus on information flow and how it can be managed in organizations. In Chapter 16, we will focus on the nature of control, the control process, types of controls, and characteristics of effective controls. When you started this lesson, you weren't sure how the management class would unfold or whether this knowledge would work for you. But with this preview, we've shown you the steps you'll follow in the management course to get the results you want by increasing your knowledge, using your time more effectively, and becoming more confident. Try to relate what you read and discuss to your own real experiences at work, in the classroom, on the athletic field, and at home. You have already been practicing, and perhaps violating, many of the principles of management. What you are about to learn is an extension and refinement of what you already know, a blending of it with the experiences of others. You saw as we previewed the route you'll take with management that first you'll define management concepts, then plan, organize, staff, influence, and finally control. Try to relate each of these management concepts to what you have experienced and read previously. By linking the content of each chapter to that which has preceded it, you will begin to appreciate that management is a tapestry with many threads that run parallel to and across one another. Coming up in the next lesson, we'll start studying management concepts and the history of management. This has been Management, previewing the route you'll take with management. I'm Gemmy Allen, and I look forward to guiding you each step of the way as you determine your own philosophy of management.